Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me, Sonia Clark. Today I'm bringing you Megan McMullen. She is an onboarding coach with MeetEdgar, which I'm going to get her to explain to you what MeetEdgar is. I do know about it. I think it's a really cool app and useful tool for a lot of entrepreneurs. Megan has a great deal of experience to share with us today. So thank you and welcome, Megan.
Thanks so much for having me, Sonia.
It's so great that you're joining us here today. You've got some really great insight to share with us and some tips in and around what MeetEdgar is and how it helps us a great deal. So listeners, Megan has worked in customer support in a variety of startups. So she's really fabulous with her experience with startup entrepreneurs, and she's an onboarding coach, and she really does know how to help with all the trials and tribulations with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, mumpreneurs. The list goes on with the preneurs and small business owners, those that are sort of looking at getting into the online space, and those that have been there but are looking for how to leverage their time, their efforts, their money, which is something I'm very passionate about, is leverage, 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 so we can try to have the life that we really do want. So Megan, can I get you to just introduce yourself to the listeners? Give us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Sonia said, I work at a startup called MeetEdgar, which is a social media automation tool. I've been with the company for almost 4 years now, and it's something that I've become really passionate about. I started in customer support at the company, has moved my way up into being an onboarding and success coach, and I run our webinars for acquisition, and I run a lot of our onboarding situation for people who have converted into users for us, just to teach them how to get the most out of our software. Now, our audience is all small marketers in themselves. They are solopreneurs. They are people who have a passionate message to get out into the world. And oftentimes that comes with a little bit of this idea that you have to do it all. So we are really passionate about freeing up people's time so you can focus on the right things in your business and not feel like you have to babysit your social media. So what is it that you can go ahead and make sure that these admin tasks that can save you time with software can be taken care of, so that you can free up your life, like Sonia was saying, to do the things that matter, like spend time with your family and friends and work on creating really powerful content to reach your community. So as you can see, it's something I'm really passionate about, and it's also something that I did not go to school for. It's not something that I necessarily had a huge background in before I got into working in startups. And I always like to share that little tidbit because I do think that marketing can be something anyone can learn to do really well if you just get to the core of why you have your business, why you have your company, and who you are actually creating that for, and making sure that that content gets in front of the right people at the right time so that your message can hit for people to solve their pain points and to create a better life for your followers. And social media is a really cool golden opportunity platform that we have to do that on these days.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of small business owners would be struggling a little bit to, if they've not really had much of a online presence, or, now that a lot of them are pivoting. So how to really use the online presence a whole lot more effectively, especially because, their audiences are sitting at home and looking through social media a whole lot more. As well as, those that there are some people that have heard about it or perhaps have experimented a little bit with these tools that are similar to MeetEdgar, or that whether they have used it but perhaps are not feeling confident with it. So what would be, let's unpack MeetEdgar a little bit more before we go into your tips in and around that. Perhaps for those that are really very, very new to what this really means and how it's going to leverage their time, what does MeetEdgar actually do?
Great question. I think a lot of the time when we hear terms like social media automation, it almost makes us think about something a little dirty, like you shouldn't be automating that. But the way that you really can have success in automating your social media is marrying it with real-time engagement. So you're not just setting it and forgetting it and not paying attention to your followers, because that's not going to create an engaged community. What you use an automation tool like MeetEdgar for is making sure that you're posting when your followers are online, so that if you're in the middle of a meeting or if you're driving, but you know the majority of your followers are online at the time, you don't have to cut out your day and actually go and log into each and every one of your accounts. Edgar will take care of that for you. The other thing that's cool about using an automation tool is the ability to amplify your message out to multiple platforms at once. So our main idea is that you want to focus on where your audience is and where they want to communicate with you. Some people's audience naturally goes towards Instagram, and your product or service might be best suited to show off beautiful photos on Instagram, while other people might have a bigger following on Twitter and they find that people respond and engage more there. So that's truly where you should be focusing. However, we all know these days what we do when we go to research a product or service. We hit social media. So you need to have a presence on each platform. In case someone new who just discovered your brand goes to Facebook, they need to see social proof there that other people have used that product or service and have received results from that product or service, but without having to burn yourself out thinking you have to have a presence everywhere. What our tool can do is you can load your content in, and it can be optimized for the platform that you know your audience is on the most, but it can still be amplified out with one click of a button to each of these platforms to make sure you have a presence and to make sure you're not losing customers anywhere there. And the biggest kind of difference of what MeetEdgar does versus other social media automation tools is two things. One, we believe in an evergreen posting strategy. And what this means is we want you to create quality content and quality messages to get out to your followers. And you want to write a status update that is going to be crafted, and it's going to take some time to do that. And once you share it one time, often that's going to not reach all of your followers, right? We all know the algorithms are only showing your post to about 10% of your followers, and that's a pretty generous number, really. So the ability for what Edgar does is he takes that status update and he will resurface it based upon the ratio of when you want things to repeat. And this just means if you're creating valuable content that can be seen by eyes multiple times in your things like your blog posts, your podcasts, your origin story, when you're gaining new followers, or those followers didn't see it the first time it was posted, our software is able to bring it up and make sure that more eyes get on it and that more people who perhaps weren't in there ready to engage with it or click through to read your blog post the first time it was shared, that they get that opportunity again. And this concept can kind of be summed up in what I like to call doing less work, but driving more traffic to your site. So that's really what it's about. So that's our one differentiator. The other is that we truly believe in a category system of posting. So when you get into our software, one of the first things that you do is you set up your categories. And this allows your social media feed to be a place that's of great variety and of great interest of posting different types of content out, and not just a place that's broadcasting promotion after promotion, and that comes across kind of like a sleazy salesperson standing outside their stores just screaming discounts at you. So this availability to share things like your quotes, your thought leadership, your tips, your blog posts, your curated content, all in a category-based system, lets people see all sides of your business, lets them see that behind the scenes content that people love, and lets people have a place that they can communicate with like-minded people. And that's what building a community is all about. So with the category-based system of posting that we have, it truly allows you to make sure you get that perfect ratio, that 80% of your content is really valuable content that people are either gaining some great insights from, they're taking a step to get successful in a tip that you're giving them, they're getting inspired by some of your quotes, they're learning about how you are different from other people in your industry. And then 20% can be a little bit more salesy in the fact that you're offering perhaps a social media discount to your followers to share the love that they're a part of your community, or that you're offering people to sign up for your newsletter. And that mix seems to work really well for the people who use Edgar in order to increase their engagement and save you about 8 hours a week on social media if you're able to load your content in there and know that Edgar will continue to send it out for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I was thinking, it's almost like having that social media marketer work for you. But so I really like the idea that it has the categories, that, it can help people even really with being a whole lot more organized with the types of message and the types of information that's going out. And let alone the fact that it's also like having a VA. So it's being all organized and it's doing some of that admin work for you. So I'm presuming then it gives you the reports on how things are going then.
Yeah, so we have a place within the software called your History tab that'll go ahead and give you a list of everything Edgar has sent out. Within the History tab, it gives you an easy one-click button to be directed to the post on the social network. And what you can do with that is we always recommend that you make sure at the end of your day, perhaps log into your History tab, go through all the posts that's sent out, and make sure that you're actually, again, engaging with the people who are commenting on it, and showing that you want to have a conversation, because oftentimes it can be hard to remember that your followers aren't just a number. They're real people on the other side of a screen there. So we always recommend batching this at the end of your day to make sure that you're not just logging in and out of social media all day, losing time, getting distracted when you're on the platform, but that you're still able to get this system of engagement in there. Within the History tab, so you can have that good feedback of kind of where their comments are coming from, what categories that they're coming from the most, to help kind of perfect your schedule that way. We also really like to stress that it's not about likes as much that we want you to focus on social media. Of course, likes are nice. They're a great signal to the algorithm. But what we truly want you to focus on, rather than those vanity metrics, is the ability of you to compel someone to click on a link and lead them to your website, or lead them to your lead magnet, or to take some action to actually get off of the network and onto a place that you own. Because what we usually describe this as is that you're just kind of advertising on rented space if you're only keeping people within Facebook or within Instagram or on Twitter, because you don't own that. So our goal is to make sure that you're leading people to know where to find you off of these platforms. So a lot of our analytics are actually around clicks through to your blog posts. And in the History tab, you can sort your history to show you the links that have received the most clicks down to the least clicks. We'll show you how many times it was sent out, just again to let you see patterns, not only in the time of day that people are clicking on links more, but also in some of the language that you're using in order to promote this content. So oftentimes people will find things like if they ask a question to introduce a blog post versus just sharing it with the headline, that will pique people's curiosity, that they want to go ahead and fill that knowledge gap that you've presented to them with their question, and they'll actually be more likely to click over and consume that content on social media. Other things that are really great about the History tab is within Edgar, you can actually create something called variations on a post. The variations is just this ability to, again, share the same blog post, because that's still going to be valuable for your new followers and those who didn't see it the first time, but share it with a different headline or with a different story about why you wrote it, or with a different question. Because again, we need to be testing what is compelling our followers and what messaging is really getting into our followers' hearts to make them leave what they came to social media for, which was to connect friends and family, and go learn something from you. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of get into the analytics on Edgar, but that's kind of the one that we love to focus on, is making sure you're driving people to your content on an actual platform like your website, or like your podcast, a place where your content lives outside of the social sphere.
Mm. Look, that is just so lovely, because that's, extremely supportive for the owner, the business owner, because it's a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that we need support as much as we possibly can. And sometimes some of these various different products, all it is it's just a tool rather than a supportive tool. So, being a supportive tool is the fact that it can actually do several things to assist you in business and to help achieve that end goal, certainly by getting that traffic, driving it through and to, wherever we need to drive them through to. So whether it's a website, a landing page, or, something like that, rather than like, and I love how, you've put it in as that rented space with, those platforms that we like to sort of put the postings out there. Some people like to sort of keep their businesses in those rented spaces, but yeah, it's so true. It's not their business. That's, those owners' businesses of those platforms. And if those platforms, especially if they're in one or two or maybe three, if those one or two or even the third one platforms disappear, or shut them down, where else is their presence? So it's really great that you've got this supportive tool that's helping business owners and entrepreneurs to understand, to get the traffic to where, back into their shop, back into, their website. So that's really lovely. What other sort of tips could you help give business owners in and around with driving that traffic, or the what's so important about consistency and marketing message?
Yeah, great question. So, one of the things that you can really do to help nurture leads along on social media is building what we call lead magnets. So, what this is it's just a simple PDF download or some sort of checklist or guide that would be really helpful for your followers. And the reason that we say to do this is because once you can capture someone's email address, once they want to download this PDF guide and you can capture their email address, you can be a little bit more nurturing and salesy when you're sending them nurturing emails after you've captured this. So the majority of your social media content should be focused on adding value and not selling. But of course, we're in business to make money and to sell. So you do have to sell it outside. You do have to sell a little bit and promote yourself there. So what a good lead magnet is, a lot of the time when we go to post on social media, it'll be something like, I don't know, I'm a photographer. Here are some of my pictures. That's cool. That's kind of great for showing off your business. But what's even stronger is saying, I'm a photographer. Download this lead magnet that'll have a checklist for everything you need to have on your wedding day to make sure you're camera ready. That's going to be way more compelling for someone to engage with and click through and to get that value from you. And then, as I mentioned, when you're setting up a lead magnet download like this, you want it to be a gated piece of content. So people have to go ahead and give you their email address. You email them this beautiful PDF document or checklist that you've made for them. You then have their email address and they then get some value from you. What this relationship is built upon now is that they trust you a little bit more. So think about what your followers are trying to learn or what's going on in their life that you can step in and actually be an expert in. So what we like to kind of refer to this as is the know, like, and trust factor. So in order to convert someone, they have to know who you are, they have to like you, and they have to trust you a lot. And that trust is built upon you getting them an actual result. So anything you can do on social media to get someone a result is often going to be your strongest content. And that can a lot of the time mean giving away your knowledge for free. So having this abundance mindset and actually giving people little tips and steps that they can take without purchasing from you first is some of your strongest content. Because again, if you get someone a result, they're going to trust that your program works. Because truly what we're all buying is a hope of transformation. For an example, as MeetEdgar is a software, that's not super inspirational for people to buy. But if I'm promoting it as just buy this software, it will save you time, that's not as strong as thinking about the outcome and thinking about the benefits that people will actually have with the software and what else can I teach them in order to show that we know what we're talking about in our industry. So a lot of the time we'll do webinars about, batching your social media content, getting in there and creating all of your content for the month in one day, and how your categories can help you break that down into chunks and how it makes it so much more manageable. And then doing the math every single month. So you only have to create social content 12 times a year. Doing stuff like that, you don't have to have our software in order to do that. And we can teach this on social media as a tool and strategy you can use. So we're teaching this sort of, why you should do this. And then the how part becomes where we can sell. So then we start saying, how you can do this easier if you like this system is if you get our social media automation tool. So think about what those kind of things in your business are, what those other supportive knowledge pieces that you can position yourself as an expert. You can gain that trust by getting people results, and always focusing on the benefits and the outcomes more than the features of your product or service is truly what's going to get you that great connection with people in the long run. Because people want to be on social media to be social, to learn things, and to create a really strong community. And it's pretty easy to do. A lot of the times I think we just overthink it, and we forget that we're here to serve one specific person. What pain points can you solve for them? And just go ahead and make sure all of your content is focused towards that.
Beautiful. Oh, love it, love it. And then listening to you is I'm picking up, the word community quite a lot from you. So I love how that MeetEdgar is about, connecting the dots and connecting people together. And it's not just about, this is a product that does processes. And the fact is that, you do the extra training and tutorials around it, and the webinars, and that's great. There's a lot of other products out there that provide that. But I can just sense from your passion and from the words that you're using is that it would actually be really quite fun sort of webinars and tutorials. It's got that real sort of essence of love and community and tribe in there. So
Yeah,
do you,
absolutely. So that's actually an interesting pickup, and the fact that our story of how MeetEdgar was created is an education first business. So our founder, Laura, actually had her own social media education business that she was running classes on, but she was finding she was spending way too much time posting on social media that she couldn't actually spend the time creating her new courses. So what she did is she just created sort of a simple software with her husband in order to use this for herself. And then she started telling people about it, and they were like, oh, I would use that too. So since the beginning, and even still now, we are a kind of an education first community. We have something called Edgar University that goes along with your subscription to MeetEdgar that just teaches about different social media marketing strategies. It has Laura's flagship course, Social Brilliant, encompassed within it. So education and community truly is kind of how she grew a software company. And when she made that pivot from being an educational business into owning a software company, her followers and those people who came to trust her from her education business were some of the first people who purchased from her, because she's built that trust, and that it's sort of like, no matter what you're selling, I'm buying it because I trust you so much. So that's the reason that community and getting that traction in marketing is so important, no matter what your product or service truly is.
I can really see that. And I've known Edgar for a while. I've known people who know of MeetEdgar and know of Laura, and I can really see all the connection of the dots there, which is so lovely. That's inspiration in itself. And that's something that entrepreneurs, is part of their essence, is inspiration and innovation, and to help connect dots. I do love the little logo, and when we're talking about MeetEdgar, it really feels like you're trying to introduce a persona to us, and it's like, oh, here's MeetEdgar, our little octopus. And I was like, oh, I like Edgar already.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it with that. It's actually another funny story how Edgar came to be, is that's just what she started calling the software when she was referring it to people and didn't have a name for it. So she just called it Edgar, and it kind of stuck in that way. And then we just decided to make it an octopus, since he's doing so many things and
Yeah.
sending out social status updates all over the place. His tentacles are hard at work for you.
I love it. I love it. When growing up, often I've said, and I've had various different types of businesses myself. So I've gone from the good old bricks and mortar through to online, and I've often, and having children and amongst all of that, I've often said, I wish I was an octopus. I've always said, I want a crystal ball, I want to be magic, and I want to be an octopus.
I love it.
So I can do everything, as much as I possibly can. So I really resonate with Edgar. And I love hearing that story. It is so good. It humanizes it, and that's where we're at very much so. And certainly at the moment, that's what we're seeing a lot with this the times with this corona, is that people are reaching out and collaborating a whole lot more, and looking at different ways that they can pivot and what they can do, and to be able to assist and help their target audiences. So it's so nice that we can say, hey, here we are, MeetEdgar, people.
100%.
So tell me then, what would be on the horizon for Edgar into 2020?
Yeah, great question. So one of the biggest things we're super excited about is we're going to launch our integration with Pinterest. So currently we integrate with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but we've gone ahead and become marketing partners with Pinterest. So we're just hoping to bring in more networks to be kind of an all-in-one place for you to have all of your social media content organized, scheduled out, and ready to go, to save you more time. Other things that, again, we have Edgar University, that's a part of it, which we're continuously adding new classes, because we all know algorithms change, marketing strategies change, things like this that's going on now with a crisis. The way that you're messaging now might have to be a little bit different than what you had planned. So how can we make sure we're supporting our community and knowing how to take like a brick and mortar store to pivot into being an online business? If you're going to be someone who's doing online classes as a fitness instructor, or if you're someone who has to pivot from selling your bread to coffee shops to now doing home deliveries, whatever we can do to kind of support people with what's going on now. Those classes always go into Edgar University. So we're really excited just to be able to support small businesses in that way. And yeah, just look for more ways to make sure that we're reaching communities and giving them confidence that building a tribe on social media and taking the time and effort to make this as a part of your business plan and your overall marketing strategy, and consistently doing it, and kind of not being afraid to show up as if you had 1 million followers even before you do, truly is worth your time.
I love it. I love it. So it really is a business partner for business owners, really, to be able to, again, to leverage. But it really is what you're saying is a partnership, because you're looking for how can we support the business owners, the entrepreneurs more. How can we, find other ways perhaps to be more innovative to support them, whether they see it. So whether you're ahead of the 8 ball or whether you're being reactive to people that are ahead of the 8 ball. So, look, that sounds so fabulous. It sounds really, really exciting. And especially at the moment, because there are so many changes. For someone like myself, I love change. So change junkie, challenge junkie. So it sounds really, really exciting with what could come about. Pinterest is an area that I'm not, across. Well, look, we're all having to look at different sorts of ways and how we can add extra streams of revenue. How can we support our target markets? Because it's our end users that they will be changing. And Business 101 is supply and demand. And to meet the demand, there's also strategies as far as creating the demand. But it's ultimately it's a two-way street with the end user, and having someone like MeetEdgar being that business partner and to be more supportive really does help. It's really lovely. I think a lot of people listening to this are going, right, I need to go and check this out. Tell me all about this and how it all helps. So with that in mind, is there a particular offer that MeetEdgar can provide the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course we want to make sure this is right for your business and fits in with your marketing strategy. So we'd love to be able to give you a free month of Edgar access. We're a subscription-based service. So if you'd like to test us out for free, you can go to meetedgar.com, and upon sign up, there'll be a place that you can put in a coupon code. And if you put on the code SUCCESS, that'll get you a free month of Edgar to test it out. Like I said, I'm the onboarding coach. So we run things called office hours every day. And we run webinars to help get you set up all the time, where you can just pop in, get live help, and make sure that this, again, is a platform that's going to support you, save you time, and make sure you're being consistent on social media.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. That's really awesome that, a month can really make a huge difference. And the fact is that there is an onboarding coach. There's a real human being at the other end, people. This is her. It's Megan. You would have quite a large team though, surely.
Yeah, so we have about 14 people who work at MeetEdgar. The cool thing about how we run kind of our onboarding and customer support team is that it's kind of a combination of our product, our marketing, and our customer experience team together. We all take turns doing things like the inbox work. We all take turns writing different marketing emails, and it just really helps us keep on the same page in our messaging to people who are going to be acquired as our community members, or our community members and what they're struggling with. It's all communicated in the company. And people who are producing the product have that direct contact with our customers. People who are marketing to our target audience have that direct customer contact as well. So when you're in the inbox, you might hear from people like Christina or Maura from the marketing team, or Kevin from the product team, and everyone's there just to support you, to make sure that, again, everything we're building is always customer centered, and that we have the voice of the customer built into the product all the time.
Oh gosh, I love that. I love that. I've been myself part of building prototype platforms, online presences for representative of large organisations. And I know what it's like to have a software development team behind me and a IT development team, and and then, the operations and things like that. And, one thing that's always stood out to me with the various different projects that I've been part of is that where the teams can cross collaborate and to be able to support one another, and to the cross support to that end user, the organisations that really do help, because really do win. They are a standout organisation, and they win for themselves, but they win for the client. They help the client, because what's happening is that when you've got that cross over of people in different areas working in with other areas and working in with the client, is that you're seeing where those bugs are, and you're being a whole lot more proactive, rather than the client having to find it or to come across certain things, because everyone thinks differently. And then everything to be slow, or for people to get oh gosh, our product. So it's so nice to hear that you're really on top of it. You're very much in front of the eight ball, which is a fabulous partner to have for entrepreneurs, especially right now, because we're all running to be ahead of that eight ball. Run like
So
little
true.
ducks. We look like we're swimming on the top, but our little feet are paddling away.
Oh man, that's such a good description of it. I love that.
You've got now octopuses and ducks in your pond.
Yeah, right.
Look, and I think that the month free is absolutely fabulous, and very, very helpful in a lot of ways for people. So I thank you very much for your time here today, Megan. Before we sign off, is there any last thing that you might want to say?
Yeah, this has been a really great discussion. And like I said, I truly believe in the power of community is what really makes or breaks a product or a service from getting out there. And that word of mouth marketing can only happen if you are there first in showing your vulnerability, showing up as a real person on social media. And if you've never tried it before, it just takes a little bit of time in order to gain that traction and that facial recognition on social media. So don't be afraid to share not only what you do in your product or service, but share who you are and share that why, because that's what people want to know. They want to be purchasing on a value-based system these days more than anything. So on social media, get a little bit brave and show who you are and why you're doing your business, because those two things are going to differentiate you from everyone else in your crowded industry way better than just what you sell. So remember, the who and the why matter just as much as the what, especially when it comes to social media.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So fundamental, so important. It reminded me of Simon Sinek there too, the why. Not that he was the first with that, but look, it just compounds it all, and certainly right now how important that is. I really thank you for bringing your pearls of wisdom along, as well as to show, how we can leverage our time and our effort a whole lot more, and what partners that we need to collect along the way to help us achieve our ultimate main goal. So thank you very much, and I will collect that URL from Megan. You'll find it there, listeners, on the web page there, and how to connect up and to take advantage of that wonderful bonus 1 month free trial offer that MeetEdgar is offering you. And you can then look into MeetEdgar a little bit more and check out that logo.
For sure. Yeah, this has been so delightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.